My name is Elena Martinez, and last Tuesday I stood in the marble lobby of my flagship property, watching my former fiancé's parents sign a lease agreement. The same woman who once told me I was too poor to marry her son now pays me $12,000 a month in rent. She still doesn't know I own the building. 7 years ago, I thought I had found my forever. James and I met in college, and by our mid-20s we were planning a life together. He came from old money, the kind that shows up in family portraits and country club directories. I came from a single-parent household where my mother cleaned offices at night so I could have school supplies. But James said none of that mattered. He said love was enough. I believed him until the day I met his parents. We drove up to their estate in Connecticut on a Saturday afternoon in May. His mother, Patricia, opened the door wearing pearls and a smile that disappeared the moment James introduced me. His father, Robert, shook my hand without making eye contact. Dinner was served on china that probably cost more than my college tuition, and every question Patricia asked felt like a test I was designed to fail. Where did my family summer? We didn't. What did my father do? I never knew him. Which prep school had I attended? Public school in Houston. The judgment hung in the air heavier than the chandelier above the dining table. 2 weeks later, James came to my apartment looking like he hadn't slept. His mother had made it clear, marry me, and he'd be cut off from the family fortune. No trust fund, no position in the family business, no inheritance. She told him I was a gold digger, that girls like me always had an agenda. She said I was too poor to understand their world, too different to ever really belong. James looked at me with tears in his eyes and said he loved me. Then he said he couldn't do it. He couldn't walk away from everything he'd ever known. He chose the money. He chose them. I moved out of our shared apartment that weekend. I didn't cry in front of him. I didn't beg. I didn't scream about the 2 years we'd spent together. I just packed my things and left. But when I got to my new studio apartment, the one I could barely afford on my administrative assistant salary, I cried for 3 days straight. On the 4th day, I got angry. Not the kind of anger that breaks things or sends late-night texts, the kind that builds something. Patricia was right about one thing. I did have an agenda now. I was going to make sure that money would never again be the reason someone could reject me. I worked my administrative job during the day and started studying for my real estate license at night. I read every book I could find on property investment and wealth building. My mother thought I was obsessed. Maybe I was. But every time I wanted to quit, I remembered Patricia's face across that dinner table, the way she looked at me, like I was something she'd scraped off her shoe. Have you ever felt completely underestimated by someone? Like they decided your entire worth in 30 seconds? Let me know in the comments. I got my license in 4 months. I started as the lowest agent at a mid-tier firm, taking clients nobody else wanted, showing apartments in neighborhoods other agents avoided. I worked 7 days a week. Within a year, I'd saved enough for a down payment on my first investment property. It was a rundown duplex in an emerging neighborhood. I renovated it myself on weekends, painting walls and installing fixtures until my hands bled. I rented it out for 3 times what I paid in mortgage. 6 months later, I bought another property. Then another. By year 3, I had a small portfolio and a reputation for turning neglected properties into luxury rentals. I hired my first employee, then my second. I stopped showing apartments and started acquiring buildings. The market rewarded people who worked hard and took smart risks. I was both. James got married in year 4. I saw the announcement in one of those society magazines. His bride came from a family even wealthier than his. I was closing on a 12-unit building in downtown Austin the same week. I didn't think about him at all. By year 6, my company owned 37 properties across 3 states. I'd built something real, not flashy, not loud, just solid and profitable, and mine. I wore tailored suits now. I had an office with my name on the door. I drove a car I paid for in cash. And I still remembered exactly what it felt like to not be good enough. The opportunity came in year 7. A historic building in downtown Hartford was going into foreclosure. 20 luxury units, marble everything, views of the city. The price was steep, but I'd learned to think bigger. I'd put together the financing, brought in 2 silent partners, and closed the deal in 45 days. We renovated it into something spectacular. High ceilings, imported fixtures, a lobby that looked like a 5-star hotel. The penthouse is rented for $12,000 a month. We had a waiting list before we even opened. My property manager called me on a Tuesday morning. She said we had a couple interested in Penthouse 3B, eager to sign immediately. They'd submitted their application, passed the background check, and wanted to tour that afternoon.
Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Turn on bell notification to stay updated for more revenge stories.
She sent me their names. Patricia and Robert Whitmore. I sat at my desk staring at those names for a full minute. Of all the buildings in all the cities, they'd chosen mine. I pulled up their application. Robert had retired early from the family business. They were downsizing from the Connecticut estate. The penthouse was perfect for them. I told my property manager I'd handle the tour personally. I arrived at the building before they did and stood in the lobby watching through the glass doors. Patricia got out of a car that had seen better years. She'd aged, more than 7 years should account for. Robert looked tired. They walked in like people who were used to being important, but had forgotten how to show it. Patricia's eyes swept the lobby with approval. This was the kind of place she understood. Old elegance, new money, the perfect blend of status and luxury. She didn't recognize me at first. I'd changed too. Better clothes, different hair, the kind of confidence that comes from building something real. "Mr. and Mrs. Whitmore," I said, extending my hand. "Welcome. I'm Elena Martinez, the owner." Patricia's face went blank for just a second. I saw the moment she placed me, the flicker of recognition followed by confusion. She didn't understand how the girl who wasn't good enough for her son was now standing in front of her in a building she owned. "Elena," she said slowly, "I didn't realize you were in real estate." "I've been fortunate," I said simply. "Shall we see the penthouse?" I gave them the full tour. Showed them every detail of the 3-bedroom unit with floor-to-ceiling windows and a terrace overlooking the city. Patricia asked careful questions about lease terms and amenities. Robert said very little. Neither of them mentioned James. Neither of them mentioned that dinner 7 years ago. When we returned to the lobby, Patricia's hands shook slightly as she reached for her purse. "It's perfect," she said. "We'd like to take it." "You've already been approved," I said. "The unit is yours if you want it." She looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw something I'd never seen before in her eyes. Not quite regret, not quite shame, but something close to understanding. "Elena," she started, and I could hear the weight of everything unsaid in my name. "I want you to know that." "The lease is standard," I interrupted gently. "First month, last month, security deposit. My manager will send over the paperwork. You can move in on the 15th. I didn't need her apology. I didn't need her to say she was wrong about me, that she'd underestimated me, that she'd cost her son someone who actually loved him. I didn't need any of it. The building said everything I needed to say. They signed the lease that afternoon. Patricia wrote the check herself, her signature careful and precise. I watched her hand me payment for a home I owned, and I felt nothing but quiet satisfaction. Not triumph, not vindication. Just the calm certainty that I'd built exactly the life I was supposed to live. I see them occasionally now, in the elevator, in the lobby, sometimes at the coffee shop across the street. Patricia nods politely. Robert asks about building maintenance. We exist in the same space with the comfortable distance of landlord and tenant. James reached out 6 months after they moved in. He'd heard his parents were renting from me. He wanted to apologize, wanted to explain, wanted to see if maybe we could get coffee. I responded with 2 words, "I'm busy." I didn't need his apology either. I didn't need him to see what I'd become, to regret what he'd chosen, to wonder what might have been. I had employees who depended on me. I had properties across 4 states now. I had a life I'd built from nothing but anger and ambition, and the absolute refusal to let anyone ever make me feel small again. My mother came to visit last month. I took her to see the Hartford building, showed her the lobby, the penthouses, the view from the terrace. She cried. She said she was proud of me, that she always knew I'd do something amazing. I hugged her and thought about all those nights she came home exhausted from cleaning offices, all the sacrifices she made so I could have a chance at something better. Patricia was right that I had an agenda. She just didn't understand what it was. I wasn't trying to marry into wealth, I was trying to build my own. And unlike the family fortune James chose over me, the one I built can't be taken away by someone's approval or disapproval. It's mine because I earned it. Brick by brick, property by property, decision by decision. Every month, Patricia's rent payment hits my account. It's automatic now, processed without any personal interaction, but I still see the notification. I still remember. And I still smile. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I wanted proof. Proof that being told you're not good enough doesn't make it true. Proof that the people who underestimate you don't get to write your story. Proof that sometimes the best response to rejection isn't words at all. It's success so complete that it becomes its own statement. I'm 33 now. I own 42 properties. My company employs 17 people. I mentor young women getting started in real estate, especially the ones who come from nothing and are hungry for everything. I'm building something that will outlast me. And every month, on the 15th, when rent is due, I think about that dinner table in Connecticut, the chandelier, the pearls, the judgment, the certainty in Patricia's voice when she said I was too poor to fit into their world. She was wrong. I didn't fit into their world. I built my own. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel to watch more revenge and inspiring stories that will make you excited like this one. Where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments and let us know what you think about this story.
Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Turn on bell notification to stay updated for more revenge stories.